Wow. Let's face it, that could have and should have gotten real ugly. 10 men Chelsea play host to Leicester and escape with a 2-1 win. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review show, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance at home versus Leicester. But fellas, before we get into any of that, please do me a big favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. We are looking to grow this page. We want to get as many people's eyes on this as possible. If you can help with that, that'd be great. The one way you can do that is by hitting that like button. It grabs the algorithm and more people get to see it in their feed. But beyond that, I want you guys to know that I do have a sponsor for the show as well. They would love for you to hit that like button as well. They go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do, just hit them up. The link will be in the description. Okay, so Chelsea played host to Leicester today and escaped with a 2-1 win after having been reduced to 10 men after 27 minutes and about 30 seconds. Goal scorers, a brace from that guy, you know his name, Raheem Rasclat Sterling. You don't know. 2 goals, brace. And that was answered by Harvey Barnes. Nervy moments, but Chelsea escaped with a 2-1 win. In this match review, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to focus on a lot of the tactics, mainly because Chelsea were reduced to 10 men after 27 minutes and about 40 seconds, with Conor Gallagher receiving double yellow on tactical fouls. And unfortunately, you know, the game plan was thrown out the window at that point. But of course, there were some stellar performances. We will be focusing on that. Of course, the likes of Raheem Sterling, his brace. We're going to look at Thiago Silva and just the grit and determination of the squad as a whole to basically bunker down and take the game to Leicester and emerge with a 2-1 win. Gutsy performance. Okay, at the outset of the match, all of the questions were surrounding whether or not Chelsea are going to change their shape, play a back four, or they're going to stick to their more traditional back three. With Koulibaly being out, the questions were who was going to be playing in that back line with Thiago Silva. Lots of people thought that Cucurella would probably just slot in there with obviously Chilwell playing the wingback role. And you know, right when I saw the lineup and I didn't see Chilwell in there, I immediately knew that we were going to be playing with the back four. And it played like that as well, with Trevor Chalobah coming in for Koulibaly, but playing on the right center-back position, Thiago Silva slipping over to the left center-back position, and of course, Reece James returning to his right full-back position, and Cucurella playing the left-back position. Now, if you ask me, I think Chelsea are going to predominantly be playing with a back three setup, maybe 75-85% of the time. But in this particular game against Leicester, with Koulibaly out with a red card suspension, and of course Fofana not quite over the line yet, obviously, stay tuned for my video. I will be doing a tactical profile of Wesley Fofana when the deal is done, but I digress. He's not in the lineup, and at that point, it's just basically we don't have enough true center backs to play that three at the back system. So it's only natural that Chelsea were going to go with a back four. But I should say that even when Chelsea played the back four system, as much as we are more attacking, I feel like it destabilizes the game. Like, Chelsea love to have control of the match, and when they play that 4-2-2-2, I feel like we're so much more attacking than we are, you know, defensive minded. And this game started out at a frenetic pace once again. It just picked up from where we left off with Leicester, or with Leeds actually. And, you know, it was just up and down, up and down. Chelsea had the majority of the control of the match, but it wasn't really the type of control that would lead to, you know, a stable match where you feel like from minute 1 to minute 9, we're just going to be in control of the game. There's not going to be any sort of like opportunities for Leicester to get out and hurt us. And, you know, the better opportunities, Chelsea didn't really create a lot of like really gilt-edge opportunities outside of the one chance that Ruben had when Raheem Sterling played him in off the left flank and played him in beautifully laid him in. Like, should have scored, but, you know, great save by Ward. And then obviously what should have been a penalty was not awarded as well, was another opportunity to get in behind. But outside of that, I don't think that Chelsea created a lot in that first 27, 28 minutes in the game where, we were all, we're at 11 men each, and you'd expect Chelsea to have much more of the lion's share of chances. Like, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the best chances came still from Leicester with Jamie Vardy getting in behind, and probably should have. He did not have his shooting boots on at all today. Let's just be honest, because there were a couple occasions where Vardy got in behind with Tielemans playing him in, and he just scuffed the shot. Or Mendy, remontada performance for sure, had a great game. Came back and saved it. But like outside of that, I didn't really see a lot of opportunities for Chelsea in their build-up play, and I think it's just because it's such a helter-skelter game. Like, you have guys like, obviously Conor Gallagher, who's very much, box-to-box ball winner. He loves to get touch tight. He loves to, dive in on tackles and stuff like that. But when you're in possession of the football, I mean, you really do need somebody that's positionally aware and understands what we're trying to do in that 4-2-2-2. And I really don't think that we have a strong understanding of how to attack that. And I still don't think that we have a strong understanding of how to play out in a 4-2-2-2 as well. I feel like between Jorginho and Conor Gallagher, they haven't really figured out what angles they need to be taking up in order to get on the ball. So a lot of the time it's either coming in and going right back to the defenders, or it's going out to the fullbacks and whatnot. And we're trying to build attacks there, which obviously the space is limited, because once it goes out to Reece James or Cucurella, their next only option is either to go back or go forward to one of our, our number 10s, whether it be Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Mason Mount. And they're basically walking tight lines in order to keep the ball in. In Ruben's case, he's been fantastic since he's been moved to that right midfielder role. Like, obviously he has the pace and power to hold off any attack, any defender, and still get forward. And you saw that in full display in the first half. He was just bombing forward, whether or not Chelsea were 10 or with the full squad. He was very, very good at just being the guy that's shuttling up and down the pitch and getting Chelsea into good attacking scenarios. But again, more often than not, when you see Chelsea trying to play out from the back and build their attacks, it is very slow and languid, because they haven't really figured out where the angles are. If we're going to be playing this 4-2-2-2 in such a destabilized midfield where, you have Jorginho, who doesn't necessarily have, the physicality to play in there and be solid. And then you have Conor Gallagher, who's just up and down the pitch and not really positionally aware in that number 6 role. We really, really need to take care of how we're building our attacks. And if it's just going to be swung out to the wide flanks areas, I don't know if that's going to be effective. Because once teams figure that out, we're really going to have a lot of trouble to find ways to, get into our attacking positions and, get into transition and whatnot. So something to work on. But again, it's hard to really evaluate what that could look like and what that should look like when Chelsea's reduced to 10 men after 27 minutes with Conor Gallagher taking, second yellow. It's crazy. I'm not going to rag on this guy, because I really do think that he's a young guy who still has to figure out where he fits in this team. He's playing a role that is unaccustomed to, and he's playing with a partner that requires a lot of protection. Now, a game like this where you're down 10 men after not even a half hour and the game is still scoreless, to come out of that game with a 2-1 win at home, with all sorts of pressure on the squad, that is yeoman work. Our talisman at the moment is Raheem Sterling. Big signing in the off season, comes in, hasn't scored yet, but you can tell that he's been getting opportunities to do so. And it was only a matter of time. I was actually going to take a bet today that he was going to score today. I was trying to get on to place the bet, but for whatever reason, the system that I was using was not allowing me to do it. So they probably knew something that I knew as well. I just knew that Raheem Sterling was not going to go 4 games without scoring a goal. And yeah, it proved true. Second half comes out, and such a vital time to score too. And we're about the 47, 48 minute mark. Everyone's got their instructions. Leicester has been thinking, we have them now. This is our opportunity to take the game by the scruff of the neck and go at them. And then 47 minutes in, a couple minutes into the second half, boom, they're down 1-0. That has got to be demoralizing. Obviously they have the ability to think, the time to recover and whatnot. But, to be down 10 men, it gave Chelsea something to cling to. So Raheem Sterling, he was my man of the match only because he was the match winner, basically, not because I felt like overall his game was like stellar, but the fact that he took that first goal and then was right there on it where Reece James puts it into him on a sixpence and just taps it in and is the match winner. He was my man of the match based on the fact of that. I just felt like he saved us, like obviously there were a lot of big performances today, but when you get 2 goals down a man, that is just huge. So it was by a nail, but I gave man of the match to Raheem Sterling because, without those 2 goals, those vital 2 goals, the scoreline would have been a lot different. So hats off to him and long may it continue. Now we can talk a lot about, age and whether or not, when you get to a certain point in your career, whether or not your performances start to drop off, but there's one guy that none of this stuff applies to, and that guy is Thiago Silva. Rightfully probably should have been man of the match because he had the best overall performance in that match. Had a ton of work to do and did it impeccably well. And I don't normally like watching games with commentators. I usually just like listen to music to get me feeling good about the game and whatnot, and enjoy what I'm watching, because I just don't like listening to commentators. But for this match I did. And there was a situation where obviously Thiago Silva was on the ball. 2 guys are coming in to press him on the ball deep in the Chelsea half. And, they're like, oh no, Thiago Silva's under trouble. He's going to look. And like, he just calmly collects himself, dribbles one way, dribbles the next, and releases the ball. It's just as cool as you like and no problem whatsoever. So all the pressure that was presumably he was under, if you listen to what the commentators are saying, was just alleviated by 1-2 touches by this brilliant footballer. And I tell you what, we are so lucky to have this guy right now. Back 3, back 4, doesn't matter. Obviously, back 4 down a man, you would expect him to be put on an immense amount of pressure. Obviously we dropped the line a lot deeper and it made it easier for him. This is basically his kingdom. You don't give Thiago Silva an 18-yard box to protect, because he will put his life on the line for it. And it showed today how many opportunities did he just was he there to either intercept, was he there to make the clearances? Everything was just on display today. His long range passes were great. Everything that we needed, we got from him today. I know we had Jorginho as our captain until he got subbed off and Azpilicueta came on. But truly, the general on the pitch today, the real true general on that pitch today was Thiago Silva. Man, did he boss that game. And man, did he show that, class is permanent. You can't play football at 37, 38 years old unless you have an incredible amount of class, world-class talent. He's going to be molding Wesley Fofana to become one of the great center backs in this game. I'm sure of it. He has all the raw tools. There's no doubt about that. He has it. It's just whether or not he can now see the game and think the game as one of the giants of the game as Thiago Silva is. And not to mention, obviously, Koulibaly as well, being another one of those guys. And I know I haven't really gotten into it, but I feel like I can just speak about this guy game after game and just surround his name with superlatives. But Reece James is the truth. This guy is the truth, okay? When we're talking about future captains, when we're talking about a guy that is really an on-field marshal, a guy that is, a vocal leader on the pitch now too, I'm seeing a lot more of that. I really do believe that Reece James has all the makings to be a quality, not just fullback, wingback, right-sided center back, right-sided player. Let's just leave it there. I really do think that he's starting to show that he has the leadership to be the talismanic figure at this squad right now. Down 10 man, he fires off a shot again. Probably should have scored there too, but it's just, he just takes the game by the scruff of the neck. And those are the types of people, the personalities that you want leading your squad going forward. So hats off to him. I really thought that he had a brilliant game. There were a number of brilliant games. Obviously, Ruben Loftus-Cheek once again, playing in his more preferred role on the right midfield position, had a fantastic game. Nobody can, I don't understand. I remember at the beginning of the year, or even in the summer, people were just get rid, sell. He's never going to make it at Chelsea. He's 26, 27 years old now, and he hasn't really, hit any strides, and I've always said that Ruben Loftus-Cheek has a wealth of talent. He has too much talent for it to be wasted at somewhere like Crystal Palace or somewhere like Fulham or wherever the hell he's been playing. Like, he needs to be in a side like Chelsea. He needs to be challenged at the highest level to get his best football out. And like, today was a great example of it. Like, down 10 men, you know, using his physicality and his pace and just his brilliance on the ball to get Chelsea up the pitch, like, time and time again. I mean, there were instances in that game where he made, you know, he kind of dwelled on the ball a little bit too long and didn't release it into space where, you know, we had runners and whatnot. But, you know, overall, I think that this guy is starting to really grow into this game, and we're starting to see something that we thought we were seeing under, you know, Maurizio Sarri. Obviously, we want to see more goals, but the ability to just like take over a match and like really shuttle and get the ball forward and, you know, use his technique and his power to devastating effect. I really think that he's coming back to that now. And if we can continually see those types of performances, I know we're going to see people come in and out of the lineup, but what I want to see from Ruben is for him to continue to build on these performances, whether he's playing that wide right midfielder role, the wingback role, or, you know, anywhere in the sixes where he ended up today. I really want to see him to just kick on and just take these performances and use them as building blocks going forward. Because like I said, I know Thomas Tuchel trusts him. I know Thomas Tuchel believes in his ability. It's now up to him to take the opportunities to show that he is who we think he is. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I know it's short, right? Can you believe it? It didn't even reach the 20-minute mark. What is going on? I mean, lots of good things to talk about today, but I really don't want to take up too much time because we really didn't have a lot of tactics to get involved in. We just had a gritty performance, you know, surrounded by, you know, people just galvanized by the performance of Thiago Silva, galvanized by the performance of Reece James, galvanized by the performance of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and of course our match winner, you know, Raheem Sterling. There's a couple of stinkers out there, but like nothing that, you know, we can't address going forward. Obviously, Mason Mount was taken off at the half, and, you know, even when I was watching the game, I said to a few of my friends in a chat room that that was the most worrying thing that I saw in the first half, was that Mason Mount just had no influence in the game whatsoever. You know, usually when you see a player like Mason Mount go down 10 men, you see him start to accentuate his game, and he starts to, you know, move about a little bit more, but he just had absolutely no influence. And, you know, it seems like he's off to a slow start this year, and maybe now might be a good time for him to just, you know, sit on the sidelines and just soak it up from there, find his football again. But, you know, I digress. I have a lot of ability. I think I have a lot of time for Mason Mount, and I think he'll come back into the side, perhaps even Tuesday, and play a blinder. But at some point we have to take him out of the line of fire, because, you know, the daggers are out for him now. You know, there are people that love him, but there are also people out there that just do not rate this guy. I don't know why, but they just don't. And, you know, maybe now is the time to just take him out of the line of fire, give him a little bit of time to just reassess what he's trying to do on the pitch, and then come back in, you know, full steam. You know, same could be said for Kai Havertz. Again, like, I don't think that he had a bad game. He put himself about. He was definitely running for the team. And, you know, when you're down 10 men, you're going to be starved for service. But one of the things that was really bothering me about his performance today was just his first touch was just off again. You know, the first touch that led to the first, the only goal. You know, the ball's played long to him from Mendy. First touch, second touch, and he just leaves it, and he goes right into the path of a Leicester player, and then lo and behold, they score. You know, and then there's another opportunity in the second half where he was played in and probably went 1v1 with the keeper, and his touch just let him down again. You know, and these are the things that you expect him to have. You expect him to be as tight as a glove when it comes to his touch on the ball, his technique on the ball, and it's just not been that way for quite some time for me right now. Maybe it is down to fatigue. Maybe he did run a lot, and for that reason, you know, mentally and physically, he just wasn't able to keep it together. But, you know, I need him to get stronger fast. Like, I really do feel like he's going to be wasting his career at Chelsea if he cannot get physically stronger. You know, yes, he has the stature and whatnot, but he really has to put more girth on himself so he can actually hold up the ball. He doesn't get shuffled off of it quickly. You know, these are the things that I'm noticing in his game that need work. You know, like he's rushing shots because he doesn't want to absorb any sort of physicality, so he doesn't have the composure yet when he's in the box. So anyways, I digress. This overall was a gutsy performance and one that we will use to build on. You know, obviously Koulibaly's coming back now. We got Fofana coming in. That back five, that back three is looking steely right now. If you can find me another back three, back five, back whatever, better defense in Europe right now, please come find me. Leave it in the comments. I want to know who they are, because I don't think I've seen one yet. You know, obviously we haven't seen our setup with Fofana yet, but like just on paper, that looks very, very, very tantalizing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that will look like going forward. But we got Southampton next, and guys, I'm looking forward to this. I really do think that we'll have Fofana tied up by then, and if we don't, you know, there's going to be all sorts of, you know, good vibes going into that game, just because we were able to pull out this 2-1 win down 10 men. And you know, we really just got to continue to build on that, and hopefully we will. But until then, keep the blue flag flying high, and up the Chelsea. Peace.